1922, they moved the Armenian orphans from Turkey because of aftermath of the genocide. They moved 22,000 Armenian orphans out of Turkey. They brought them into Syria and Lebanon. They brought them to the village of Ghazir, which is currently in Lebanon. There were 1,400 girls, orphan girls, because there were so many orphans in that orphanage, after they became 16-year-old, they had to leave the orphanage. But a Swiss missionary in the name of Papa Kunzler, or Jacob Kunzler, he taught that if the girls at the age of 16 left the orphanage and they went out, they won't be, they would be susceptible to be working in houses as maids only. So they thought if they make a rug factory, they teach them how to weave rugs. This way they could stay at the orphanage and they can feed themselves by generating money by selling rugs. And from 1922 to 1930, 3,254 rugs were woven by Armenian girls. This rug in particular, the largest one which was being woven, as a thank you and gratitude to the American government, because Near East, under the flag of Near East Relief, they were looking for a total of 132,556 orphans. As a gratitude and a thank you, they wove this carpet in 10 months. 7 girls worked on this carpet for 10 months. And on December 5th, January 1925, they sent this rug to the White House. The reason they did that on December 5th, because Near East Relief came with this idea, the Golden Rule Sunday, where in all across America, across all denomination churches, synagogues, and different churches, the preachers will preach that Americans should eat orphanage-sized food, and the difference of a dinner or lunch to donate to the Near East Relief so they could look for more orphans. So as a thank you and gratitude, they send it to the highest authority, to the White House, and this rug has not been seen since 1995. It has been shown once before. It was handled by President Calvin Coolidge, the president of the time, and when his term was finished, when he went to Vermont, he took the rug with him. And I think it was in 1982, he returned it back to the White House. In 1986, one of the orphans, 86 years later, the one who actually worked on this rug, was sitting on that rug in 1986 during Hillary Clinton's time. And it was only shown then. And it has been a controversy since last year, when the book was published with Dr. Deranian about this orphan rug. It was supposed to be shown in the Smithsonian. At the last minute they canceled and they didn't show it, and they didn't give reason. They said the venue was not appropriate and they didn't want to show it. But actually Armenians think that Turkey, because it's related to the genocide and they deny it, they didn't want to show it. So this is the first time it's going to be shown for 5 days. There's only a few more days. And exactly 17 days ago, I traveled from Los Angeles all the way to Ghazir, to the orphanage, or the ex-orphanage. It's just a building right now, just to go and photograph there to make the history come true. And this is the story of the rug.
And how many million knots does it have?
4,400,000 knots.
4,400,000
knots. Yeah. It was woven by 7 girls during 10 months. Actually, the size is enormous. The original design was taken from Dresden. It's a German town. From the museum, and it was copied. So the design, it's an Isfahan type, a Persian Isfahan type rug. Actually, the value of the rug is not as much as important, but the important was that the rug the orphanage. Why there was an orphanage is that, you know, after the genocide, the survivor of those girls who, instead of doing other things as a thank you to the U.S. government, you know, as an appreciation and gratitude, they gave it back as a thank you, because without them, they wouldn't have survived. They wouldn't have become mothers and sisters as they did. So 1,400 girls were in that orphanage, which I did find. Can you give me the article, please, just to show the pictures, how the orphanage looks today in Lebanon? Okay, you see, this is the original orphanage where it was woven. This is an archival picture here on the left, okay? And this is how it looks right now in Lebanon, which I was there 17 days ago, okay?
Is that museum?
No,
Private?
it's privately owned. And as you see here, the orphans with the girls, and now on weekends it's used as a banquet for weddings and stuff, and you can see it, it's all dressed up for the for a wedding ceremony. And this is the orphanage, how it looks. It's perched on a hill overlooking the beautiful blue Mediterranean. Okay. And look at this picture here. This is the orphan rug, the same one here. Hang up over the balcony with arches. And look at the house. I have located the same house today, how it looks. It was hanging from this arches here. It is huge. And then the rug is not, it's not open, they're still large. So this is, so, and it was hanged from exact position from the house that it is today, that I photographed last week. And this is Vartuhi Gulesian. After 86 years, she's the one of the orphans who actually wove. And Calvin Coolidge, the first lady, Mrs. Coolidge, asked them, those girls were brought here to Philadelphia to show how weaving carpet was done, and they were accepted by the first lady, and she offered them, do you want to stay in the United States? And two of them stayed. And 86 years later, Mrs. Gulenian sat on the same rug during Hillary Clinton's time in the White House. This is in the White House. She's sitting on the rug that she wore.
Wow.
Gulenian.
You can't see it in this one.
Right, sorry. And obviously they're showing the same rug before it's being shipped to the White House. And it's a colorful. And the posters of the day, you can see here Uncle Sam holding Armenian children, orphans, under ruined churches and the Mount of Ararat in the background. Okay? And at the time, the whole nation across the U.S., all three presidents for 15 years, they looked after the Near East Relief, which was the organization who was taking care of the orphans. And they looked after 132,556 Armenian orphans. And here they are, members of Lions Club in Rochester, New York. They came in, they donated their own clothes, and they went back in barrels, sending clothes to children across the world because it was too cold and they didn't have. This is the Lions Club members doing this. Anita, you want to hold this?
That became the ARS, right?
No, it's not ARS.
Oh, it didn't become
it's a congress. It was incorporated by It started in 1915, and it was incorporated in 1919 as a congressional. And this is the master, Ohannes Tashjian, is the one who taught the girls how to dye wool using vegetable, flowers or whatever it is, and he taught them how to weave orphans. He was an expert. What's that? That this is it's that it's wool with, and this is the missionary Jakob Kunstler, a Swiss missionary working for the Near East Relief. He was the one who came with the idea that 16-year-old girls who were leaving the orphanage should not live, because in Lebanon the only thing they could work was just become maids and become susceptible for abuse. He lost his arm treating Armenian orphan. He got infected and they had to amputate. He moved 8,000 orphans, boys and girls from Turkey into Syria and Lebanon. And his granddaughters were here yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
Maurice Missak Kelechian. Okay? And this is President Calvin Coolidge in the White House. And Dr. Finley on the Near East Relief Director. This is in the White House, received on December 5, 1925. And the posters of the day, this is not Armenian nationalistic posters. These were done by the Americans, by the USA. And I will read you things, and it's amazing. 100 years later, it's the same thing today. Uncle Sam's job is Armenia and Syria. How appropriate for today's what's happening in Syria and Iraq. And here is another one. This is the Statue of Liberty. She has changed her torch into a sword. And she's saying, "They shall not perish. The life of an Armenian child is in your hand." And it's wrapped up with an American flag. And here is the rug factory where the girls were working, and one of them is this rug. From that factory, 3,254 rugs were produced from 1922 to 1930. And you see the girls will sit 4 at a time to weave. This one was woven in 10 months, 7 girls, 4 and 3. No, it's wrong. It's not 18 months. It's 10 months, 7 girls woven.
10 months, 7 girls.
Yeah. Well, the symbolism is that the design of this carpet was taken from Dresden. It's a famous town in Germany, which was bombed in World War II. And it's an Isfahan type Persian design carpet. Okay, the wool was obviously taken from lambs and sheep in Lebanon. It used to be Syria, and now currently it's Lebanon. And the dyes used with it is the expert Hovannes Tashjian. He used vegetable dyes, and he was from Urfa originally. He moved with the children. 22,000 of them were moved from Urfa to Kharpet, from Kharpet to Syria and Lebanon. The significance is that only after they were rescued, only less than 3 years later, in 1925, as a gratitude for the American government that because it was under the umbrella of Near East Relief, that as a gratitude, as a thank you, they wove this carpet and sent it back to United States. And the reason they did on December 25, because Near East Relief came with this idea to create a Golden Rule Sunday. A Golden Rule Sunday is to encourage the American population, instead of eating lavish lunches or dinners, for example, they will choose a dinner, and on that dinner, the whole United States population will eat orphanage food size, and the difference money will donate to Near East Relief. You would see children with crutches, okay? They will stay in line with their little piggy banks in their hand so they could put their coins. And 3 United States presidents, Wilson, Harding, and Coolidge. 3 terms. There is no cause in the United States which has lasted 3 consecutive presidents looking after them. From 1915 to 1930, that was the life of Near East Relief. Their original goal was $30 million, but they were able to collect within the 30 years 4 times that amount, $117 million, roughly, just to round it, $120 million, make it 4 times. You would say at that time, what is the value of that dollar?
Yeah,
we're talking from 1915 to 1930. In today's dollar, that is worth $3 billion. They were shipping clothing, used clothes, food. They donated 28 million pounds of flour to America, to Armenia. First republic in Armenia got independent in 1918. Without the flour from the grains of United States, North, South Dakota, and Western prairies where all the grain come from, without that, the Armenian nation would have not survived. I'm sure relatives or grandparents of yours who were saved by the Near East Relief in Armenia, in Ghazir, in Syria, in Aleppo, in Lebanon, in Jordan, in Iraq, in Egypt, and in Greece. This is when all the Christians under the rule of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the first Republican Turk president, he kicked all the Christians, including the Americans, because the Americans had large real estates there. They had hospitals, they had missionaries, they had schools, they had all kinds of things. They had to be kicked out of Turkey. And when they moved out of Turkey, they moved to Greece, to Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Middle East, and on the other side into Yerevan and Gyumri. And the largest orphanage in the world was in Gyumri. Over 30,000 orphans in one place. 30,000 orphans. Imagine they had to dress them, they had to clothe them, they had combs, soap, wash, baths, pillows, covers, and one of the largest things that happened there was trachoma. Trachoma is the eye disease, because they walked in different deserts and stuff that they acquired their eyes, they couldn't see, and it leads to blindness. As the kids, there were 4 kids sleeping in one bed, so 2 and 2 like this. There are 4 in one bed, and this is very contagious. So in order to save them, American doctors went there. American women doctors. It's American AWH, American Women Hospital. At that time, women were not allowed to serve in the U.S. Army. So these women doctors, they volunteered. They went to Armenia all the way until 1929. As you know, 1917, where the Soviets and the communist revolution started. So until 1929, American women and American personnel were serving there, which is a great story.
Missak Kelechian, there are a lot of wild animals on the
Yes.
island.
Yeah.
Does that reflect the
Initially,
genocide?
no, it has nothing to do with the genocide. The only relation to the genocide is that these are the survivors, and when they're children, you would think orphans and elderly are the most susceptible portion of the population. Those were the first to die, the kids and the elderly, because they couldn't march those miles and hundreds of miles. But why did these survive? The reason they survived because Talat Pasha, the interior minister of Turkey at that time, who organized this whole genocide, he thought any children below 12-year-old, they will not remember their ancestors. So they didn't kill these children that wore this carpet. They saw their mothers and their fathers beheaded and axed and killed. And so what I consider that under the American patronage, under the Near East Relief employees, over 1,000 of them, volunteers, I will correct myself, volunteers who went to serve, they left the comfort of their houses in Washington, in California, in South Dakota, in Mississippi, all volunteers from different states. They went to serve in foreign lands to look after children. Without Near East relief, the Armenian nation would have not existed. Today I am here, and lots of our is because of Near East relief and the American government's support. And it was from the executive and the State Department and people. They encourage children. I have photographs, children selling lemonades in front of their houses, and the banner on it, it says, earn in America to give in Armenia. There is no Armenian institution who will do this, but these were American children selling lemonade, popcorn and fudge and cakes to collect pennies and give. And those pennies ended up to be $3 billion in today's dollar.
So the U.S. government actually supported the
Absolutely. It was a congressional incorporation. It was incorporated by the Congress in 1919.
It's not an Armenian organization?
No. This is not. This is absolutely an American organization. And the way it started, I will tell you. Just a second here, because I want to quote exactly okay, in September 3, 1915, okay, Ambassador Morgenthau, the American ambassador in Constantinople or Istanbul, okay, witnessed the first atrocities against minorities in Anatolia, now Turkey. Henry Morgenthau, the U.S. ambassador to Turkey at the time, sends the following telegram to the U.S. State Department. The copy of these telegrams exists. So it is not true the Americans don't know. Congress don't know. No, they don't, because it's their allies. They have to benefit from Turkey. It has nothing to do, although we as a superpower, we are financing Turkey. We're giving all this to Turkey. And when the right time comes, they don't allow us to use our U.S. bases, or they don't open, and they open their borders for the ISIL or the extremists. So he says specifically, and I quote, destruction of the Armenian race in Turkey is progressing rapidly. Will you suggest to Cleveland Dodd, Charles Crane, John Mott, Stephen Wise, Rabbi Stephen Wise, to form a committee to raise funds and provide means to save some of the Armenians? So Near East relief started because of this telegram. Without Henry Morgenthau asking for that, to raise funds to save the remnants of the Armenian race, destruction of Armenian race. What does that mean? Destruction of Armenian race. The word genocide did not exist then. It was in 1948. What I will do, I will give you. If you write your email, I will gladly send you this.
Wonderful.
So.
Could you art-wise, what's on the rug, what animal?
Okay. Basically, as I said, the meaning of this, it was copied from another rug in Dresden, Germany.
Okay.
There is no meaning, but
No meaning of the animals?
no, but then, because Armenia's location is Garden of Eden, and I've spoken on CNN at that time in 2005, that it's, I have read that it was just like from the Garden of Eden, and there was 144 animals. My lady, I show you, there is thousands of, because if you look here,
What kind of animal?
okay, if you look at this here, each one is an animal. One, two, you see on the board, it's other than the animals which are, there are unicorns, there are deer, there are lions, there are cheetahs, there are different animals. And you can see this label here, it says, in golden rule gratitude, okay, to President Pulis. So that's what it was dedicated. But the meaning and the drawing, it was a copy from an Isfahan in Dresden from Germany.
So the original rug.
Not only Isfahan, Tabriz, Isfahan, even Armenian bird, many things inside different.
Exactly.
Mixture and especially foundation cutting inside who did not come very fine, very small, because that's foundation cutting.
Yeah.
They cannot make.
Okay, if you give me your emails,
What is your name, sir?
Missak Kelechian.
The silk
Kelechian.
foundation can
What do you do? Do you write? I heard your name, but I
Missak
don't
is
know.
famous.
Okay. I am an electrical engineer in
Beirut.
no, I live in Los Angeles. I am an electrical engineer and I work with computers and everything else. But all Armenian related stuff is my passion.
Yeah,
Okay.
somewhere on internet, I guess. Somebody either made.
No, if you write Missak Kelechian on YouTube, you will see a lot of videos that you can watch. Okay?
We found